Let's cancel the word cisgender. I'm kidding. Oh, that was a bit sassy.
I just want to say, I only watched like 2 of her videos, but Blair White, what in the kind of Blair White ripoff with the intro? Because Blair White does the thing too. But okay. Everybody, what's up? Welcome to today's video where we will be reviewing another YouTuber's video about the term cisgender. The title is actually called, "Is the term cisgender offensive? I asked and you answered. Trans woman reacts." I'm pretty sure that Elon Musk tweeted once that cisgender was a slur. I'm 99.9% convinced. And I can't believe that this is a real topic that has been ongoing, because like it's hilarious to me, but we'll hear her out.
Today's going to be a little bit of an opinion video, but I'm going to try and stay as neutral as possible, because I really do try and do that in my videos and try and look at everything from every angle. So let's cancel the word cisgender. I'm kidding. Let's talk about it. As a trans woman, I think people almost expect me to use the word cisgender and expect me it to be part of my vocabulary and what I call biological men and women who aren't trans, cisgender. And for me personally, I don't personally use it for a few reasons really. The first reason, I've explained it before, I just don't see a personal need for it. In a medical aspect, I can see where there is a need for it there sometimes, which is where the word was created for, when you're describing the difference between someone who is trans and who isn't trans. Okay,
but saying cis or cisgender is a lot easier than saying biological male or biological female. Why is this a debate? I asked the same question on my Twitter. I'll show it to you in a few minutes, but listen to this, okay?
I kind of understand it there. In day-to-day life, to use it, I just think it's redundant. It's not. I just don't personally feel like needed. The second reason, on social media, I see it used a lot as a slur towards people who aren't trans, which I find it quite offensive. And the final reason, it's just another divide. It's just another way to separate human beings, and we're all just human beings.
Some people won't see you as a human being, or me, but you kind of understand it there. Cis is a medical term, and it dates back to like the 90s and appeared in dictionaries to tell the difference between transgender people and cisgender people, biologically male and female people. Who's been trying to separate us in the first place, though? Cis is not a slur. If you get offended by being called cis, that is so different from being offended by being called like trans. This is brain rot, holy.
And it's just another label, and I am 30 and labels just, I'm in that generation, I think, where why do we need labels? Like, if you are born gay, why should you have to come out?
She's a bit much and a bit confusing to me. Gay people still have to come out because society is still progressing, and everybody typically assumes that everybody is straight. So gay people have to come out. I mean, if you're a man and you want to date men, you're going to say that you're gay so you can date the men. I understand that you don't have to have labels, but they're there for a reason.
I think a few people started to comment, I don't really like the word, I don't feel like it applies to me, it's a label that I don't like, I didn't choose that, why am I being called it? And starting to read all your guys' comments and seeing that people are rejecting the word, I started to think in a slightly different mindset. And my mindset has sort of shifted and evolved into the sense that as a trans woman, when I began my transition, people asked me what my new name is and what pronouns they should use in a very respectful way, which I really appreciate. And I think for me to ask people for a new label, for me, I don't think I should then put on a label on someone else, especially if they don't want it. That's my main point here.
Okay, Alexis, I like the professional approach. Very good. Good job. You're not putting on a new label to these people. Do we go to the grocery store and say, "Hi, I'm checking out with my broccoli and I'm a cisgender male"? No, it's actually funny. The reason that cis people find the word cis as a slur or offensive is because they use trans or any variation of transgender slurs. You know, trans. I'm not even going to name them. I don't even want to say them. I feel dirty saying them. But they use trans as a slur to offend trans people.
Whether people agree if it's a slur or not, or if it's being used as a slur, whether you think it's maybe needed or not needed, I think what it boils down to for me, people are rejecting it, it doesn't make them a TERF, and they shouldn't be called it because they don't want to be. And I think it's really that simple. The irony, I'm going to go into the exciting bit in a minute, but just one more thing. I think the irony for me personally is that the word obviously was created in a medical sense.
I'm going to stop you right there for a second though. Where are the people being called a TERF? I mean, I guess I would assume if you're getting offended by the scientific term of what you are, then you are a TERF, and you have some, or you at least have some type of thing against trans people.
In a medical survey that was comparing trans people to cisgender people. But I think now it's being used a lot by people who are in LGBTQIA. So a lot of trans people and non-binary people use the word cisgender. I think the irony in it that we are asking for our own labels, our pronouns, our new names to be used, but then we are saying, hang on, you are cis and that's your label. And that's what kind of vibe it gives to me sometimes. I think in a lot of the instances that I have seen on social media, that I've reacted to on social media, when the word is used, it seems to always be used in a derogatory way. The main fact is a lot of people are rejecting it and don't want it.
The reason people do that is because it pisses them off. If you're offended by being called cisgender on twitter.com, then it shows me that you have nothing else going on in your life to be concerned about. You're sulking at home, upset because you were just born like a regular person and you didn't have to go through what she went through or what I went through. I would pay good money for that. It shaped me though as a person, so I'm not really sure. I probably would pay good money to not be transgender. But okay, so she took a poll, and we'll show you that. But I took a poll just really quickly on my Twitter, and I need to show you what happened. This was just 4 hours ago, and I said, is cisgender a slur? And I have a voice crack. I have a very... So what's the term for like open-minded audience, obviously? 921 votes. 95% said no. I don't know who the hell the 5% is. You guys should unfollow immediately. But before I posted this tweet, I got this warning. I've never seen this in my life ever, and I have said bad things. And it says, this post contains language that may be considered a slur by X and, Twitter. I'm not calling you X. And could be used in a harmful manner in violation of our rules. Oh no. Who's a snowflake now? Like, what are you talking about, brother? Like, that shit was so weird.
Well, hi all, I hope you're having a fab week. As many of you may know, I don't really like or use the word cisgender. I don't personally feel the need for it, and I feel like it is used in a derogatory way sometimes. How do you feel about it? I will discuss the results in an upcoming video. Oh my love, XXX. So, the three options that we gave. I find it offensive, I don't find it offensive, or I am neutral, I don't know. 70% of you guys put I find it offensive. Out of 5.8 thousand people, 70%. Again, I know there might be some bias, but anyway, 70% I find it offensive, 11% I don't find it offensive, and 19% I am neutral, I don't know.
God, dude, again, you're a bunch of snowflakes. Go get punched in the face for being cis and then tell me how much it offends you. I've been in situations where I have been terrified because the person knows that I'm trans. They're not going to corner you and be like, yo, what up, sissy? Well, actually, I might do that. So stay away from me. Don't come to LA. Don't do it. I will do that. But yeah, no, go have your family harass you on social media too. And then tell me how much it hurts you for being cis.
And I genuinely think the word will disappear out of people's vocabulary. Some of the comments that I found really interesting. First comment from Colby. The thing that bothers me the most is how this label is being forced onto people who are uncomfortable with it. The very same people who will battle for pronouns that you see will shame and criticize you if you dare say you'd rather not be referred to as cis. The fact that they can't see the hypocrisy in this is astounding to me, so thank you for your comment. I think it's the rejection of something. If people are rejecting the label, then I think, and if it's not just a small portion, but a large portion of people don't like it. From people I've spoken to in my real life, like real work colleagues, my friends, my family.
No, I'm going to stop you right there. That is anecdotal, not backed up statistically. So technically speaking, you can't claim that. People on the internet are also extremely sensitive, like me. And you know, they sprinkle in a little bit of insecurity and transphobia, and that's the type of person that you get. Someone on a keyboard saying, I'm a real woman, not a cis woman. Well, what does that tell you? It's transphobia, okay?
And I think that says a lot in itself, that if people are saying, I don't want that, I am just a woman or a man, I think that in itself speaks volumes. As time's progressed, and as the word is being used more and more and more, it's gaining more popularity, and it's somewhat derogatory in some instances, not all, but in some instances that I've seen online. I think that's now where people are like, hang on, I don't really like it. But there's also the fear, which I've read in a lot of comments, the fear of being labelled a TERF, a transphobe, or anti-trans if they don't like the word.
Why would you fear being called those things if you weren't those things? I don't fear being called like homophobic, because I'm not. I feel like if you fear being called something like a cheater or a manipulator or a gaslighter, right? Doesn't that kind of make sense? Am I gaslighting you right now? Is that what's going on? That might be going on right now. See? No, that doesn't make any sense. But do you know what I'm saying? Like, why are you so afraid to be called a TERF online anyways on twitter.com?
If something affects you as a person, it's okay to speak about it and it doesn't make you transphobic. I think there is a line where it can become transphobic, but say I don't like the word cis, you are not transphobic. Because it's nothing to do with being trans. It's to do with you and your identity and your label.
No, I feel like you can't dislike the word cis. That's like when you go to the doctors and they're like, you're male or something. I mean, you would hate that if you were trans, whichever, the other way, but like, no one is going into the local grocery shop, again, like asking people if they're cisgender. And then when you fill out forms, it'll say male, female, transgender, other, or some variation of that. I actually don't think I've ever seen cisgender on one. I know that's anecdotal, but I'm not trying to be an asshole. Her delivery of the topic, like I said, is just pretty professional. It reminds me of me when I was naive, though, and catering to the wrong audience. But some of her other videos are not. They're Blair White-esque. They're like Blair White if she was a Diet Coke that was sort of nice.
As a trans woman, I'm going to keep coming back to myself because I think that's the fairest way to do it. I have fought 27 years to find the confidence and strength in me to transition, to find the bravery and to get rid of the shame with it all. And I fought so hard to have the label she, her, which is amazing. I hate saying it. It cringes me out to say that. I don't know why. Well, I do know why. Just the stuff online. And also to fight for the name, to have Alexis and legally change it and all the stuff that I've had to go through to change the marker on my passport, my driving license with all the banks, my mortgage, all the stuff that you have to change it with.
That is the difference between you and a sissy baby snowflake crybaby sissy. That's me using it to be an asshole. I mean, I guess I could turn it into a slur. Can you? I don't know. Can you? Maybe. But trans people do that if they're arguing with you, and they do it to piss you off, cis people, because they know it'll make you mad for whatever magical reason. Trans people don't get triggered by their labels as far as I know. Like, we know that we're trans, we're aware that we are trans. But when it's a slur and not just trans man and it's the bad words, no, we don't like that, because naturally people don't like being called slurs that are actually real slurs.
I think to fight so hard for that and to be like, that's my label now, this feels amazing, to try and give someone else a label that they don't want, it's not fair. And it's like, if someone gives me the label man, okay, that's your opinion, but it's not how I feel. I don't know if I'm just dumb. And if I am dumb, please call me out here and let me know, and I will try and learn something. But I genuinely don't see a need for it in most instances where it is used, because if someone said to me, you have a man and a trans man, I would know instantly that they're talking about a biological man and a trans man who is a biological woman who's transitioned to a man. I would know immediately.
God, I mean, yeah, I agree, but that's you. I think there's a need for it, especially in medical fields, obviously, or even in general conversation where you can't tell someone's gender identity. I mean, you could ask. People can disclose it how they want to. She's acting like we use it in everyday vocabulary. But the only time I ever see this is literally on Twitter.
I don't need someone to say cisgender man and transgender man, because the thing is, if you're born as male, for instance, and you identify as male, and then it's a man. But if it's something that's different to that, we have all these other labels that you can pick and choose from now and identify with, and be trans, be non-binary, and all the subsections of that. So why, I'm sure there's many more that I've not just said, so why, for me, my brain struggles to understand, why do we need to add a label on top of man or woman when it's quite clear in most conversations, most instances, most of the times I see it's used, I would understand them if they didn't use it. And that's where the kind of pointless aspect comes from for me. It's just more words to say. It's another divide between people, and people are rejecting it. And I think that's the ultimate thing. Not everyone, and I know some people don't reject it, some people don't mind it.
All right, I get it, whatever. Lots of labels can get confusing. If you have 5 or whatever, take it or leave it. Then don't talk to them. I don't know what to tell you. But that's why it can be easier to simply ask, or like I said, just don't associate with someone who's not a cis, because it'll ruin your privileged day of complaining about something stupid as fuck.
I think it's a really interesting point. So from Jess put, I find it redundant. Woman equals biological women. Trans woman as a term is already stating the difference, so don't need to refer to someone as cis. I have only seen it used as a derogatory slur, so I do find it offensive. 103 likes.
Is this even a video at this point? It's not offensive. I'm a trans man, okay? I fall under the category of man. I guess you could say it's an umbrella, because I'm under the umbrella. I'm a man. I'm a man who's trans. Sam, the man who's trans, right? I'm still a man. I'm just trans. It's just a label to help the medical doctors. Nobody's calling you that anywhere. I guarantee $1 million, I guarantee it.
My opinions I have, I do form on my own, and I get called pick me a lot, and I think people think my opinions are formed to please others, which is not the case. All of our opinions on things, I think for everyone, I hope I'm not saying this wrong, but our opinions come from how we initially feel, like our gut instinct, how our brain works. But then other people's opinions can layer up and change and mold that, and we can learn through other people's opinions, other people's views and perspectives, and that can change. So at first, with the word cisgender, I was very cautious and unsure and didn't really get it. And then as time's gone on, my opinions got stronger from my own beliefs and through other people's opinions as well.
Like I said, you're reminding me of me when I was trying to please everybody, but I have seen like a couple of your videos and also like the titles and thumbnails, but you seem to have like a soul, unlike most of the critical YouTubers who do what you do. So there's 2 places that you're probably gonna fall into. You're gonna fight with trans people with them, or against them, like Blair White. One of those ends badly, by the way. That's when you fight against your own. Spoiler alert.
We have a comment that's more in the middle. They're not opposed to the word, so I'm not strictly opposed to the use of the word. I really only find it offensive when people are saying it to be offensive. For me, words don't matter as much as the intent behind them. Again, it's another interesting point of view. I think that's a lot of sentences that I've read or heard from people, is that people either don't get it, they don't care, or they don't like it when it's being used offensive. And I'm going to go through this poll again, because there's got to be a comment where someone is agreeing with it and who likes the word.
Like, I guess that's an okay stance, but I'm sorry, but if you're upset at the prefix, go outside, touch some grass. At this point, you're making someone who's woke, and I consider myself pretty woke, look less snowflakey than you are, because you're doing a bit too much. Honestly, I don't get offended when I'm called like bad transgender things. And I think it's just because I'm secure with myself, maybe. I don't know. Because I don't really care about other people's opinions. So I don't know you, and I just don't care.
I found a comment where someone is agreeing with the word, which is really interesting. I'm always open to listening. Irish Rose, hello, said, oh my gosh, your hair looks so pretty in the picture. I don't find an issue with it. If someone can refer to someone as trans, then there should be no problem referring to someone as cis. It doesn't take anything from them. Thank you for your comment. I'm not gonna like disagree with you. I'm just gonna sort of put my sort of 2 cents on top of it. I get where the comment's coming from, but I think what the issue is, where that I would sort of counterpoint this comment with, is that that I am trans, but I chose to use that for myself. It's how I feel, and I chose she, her pronouns, which still cringes me out to say. However, I feel like if someone didn't choose the terminology cis for themselves and they say, I don't want to be called cis, that's where the problem is.
You can't choose cis. That's like saying you chose to be trans, which I really don't like. Like, you align with those terms. You're transgender. I'm sure you check off like the transgender checklist, but nothing's being taken from them. They didn't choose to be cis. They just simply are. And we're trans. We didn't choose to be trans. We chose to transition and do something about it, but we didn't choose. How much longer? How much longer do I have of this? Okay, we just have 2 more clips. We can make it through. Okay.
Giving the vibe of, you have, say, a non-binary person who's biologically male, they're non-binary, and people keep saying he to them about their gender. That is them putting a label onto them that they don't want, and I struggle to understand like the difference between that. If someone rejects the word cis, it's the same as someone rejecting their biological sex pronouns. It's the same to me. That's where the level of equality that we're fighting for should make us meet in the middle.
I see where you're trying to come from, but non-binary is very hard for strangers to gender you correctly or use your right pronouns or whatever. Or for anyone, I guess, that could go for, even if you're not non-binary. But naturally, like, you will gender someone, you know, if you're a waitress, a waiter, etc. It's ingrained in society. Also, cis is not a pronoun. It is a noun, just like trans. Yeah, being called he and cis are different, but I'm sure you know that.
What it ultimately boils down to for me, like final thoughts, if people reject the label and don't want it, that means they don't want it. We can't infringe it, enforce it, push it on them, because that's not who they are. That's not how they identify. In the same way, I identify as a trans woman and I like to be called she.
It isn't, though, because they can't reject the term cis. Like, I cannot reject the term trans. I'm aware that I'm trans, born biologically female. Like, I know this and I accept this. That's why I transitioned and I did the whole stupid thing. Personally, I prefer to just be referred to as just that dude or that some man, whatever. I feel like I just said the same thing over and over, because if you're finding that offensive, you gotta go to therapy, please. Yeah, Alexis, I don't know why I feel like giving her props, but she has good professionalism. She's not rude. She's not mean girly, but as one creator to another, I don't know if you're gonna watch this. Careful who you cater to. I've been down that road before. It's not a fun one. Yeah, anyways, cisgender is not a slur. I'll see you later. Goodbye.